Hello guys, it's Luke here from Patient Rush again, and today I have with me Dr. Buck Conrad from Huntington Family Dentistry in West Virginia, in Huntington, West Virginia. Buck, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So Buck, to get us started, what's your background? How did you get into the industry, and how you found yourself where we are here today?
Well, I was very fortunate growing up that I experienced the general dentist, the orthodontist, and the oral surgeon at a very young age, and they were all really great guys. And as I experienced them and what they did, it was just something that struck me as that I would really like to be like these guys and do what they do. And so it just kind of started from there. I always thought it was something I wanted to do. And as time progressed, I was able to satisfy the different things you have to do to come into the profession.
Fantastic. Oh, that's interesting. I was actually similar. I wanted to be a dentist, and I did a shadow week, I remember, at school. Didn't end up becoming a dentist, but ended up working in the industry in a roundabout way. But it's super cool. I love hearing stories like that where people are inspired to head down the path of their profession. It feels like it has a purity to it.
Right.
Yeah, fantastic. And Buck, over the years, what's been a principle or a strategy that's worked successfully for you in your business that you can share with the listeners?
Well, I was fortunate that I grew up in a family business which was interactive in that we had to interact with our customers, our people, not necessarily a patient base, but we had to interact with our base. That was how we made our living. And it goes back to my grandfather and my father who had the business. They were just very into people, very into the people they dealt with, and they became everybody's best friend. And so when I started in dentistry, someone told me, said, treat everyone like your family, like it's your mother, your father, your grandparent, favorite aunt, uncle, brother, sister. And then as I was married and had children, treat them like your children, And so I think that's been my main focus my entire career is the patient, making that relationship. It's not always perfect. Nobody's always satisfied all the time. But for the most part, when people feel that you want to know them, you want to know about them, what they do, how they experience, then when you go to sit down to do treatment for them or consult them with what they need to have done, then I think they just have more of a comfort and confidence that, you're doing what's best for them. And, you're honest, you're open, you admit when you make a mistake, you admit when something needed to be done better or could be done better. And for the most part, I've always felt like that's been the base of what I've always tried to do.
That's great. Fantastic. And for your client, it sounds like with that foundation, I would imagine a lot of your patient base would come through referrals. But is there other marketing that you guys do? What kind of marketing have you done or do you do within the clinic?
Well, I mean, I've always done probably more marketing than maybe what the average dentist would do as far as that goes. One thing that I always did, and this goes back, I know, after being in the business for almost 40 years, this was back before cell phones, even voicemails, that I always advertised my personal home phone number. So my availability was always, if you can't get a hold of me during the day, feel free to call me at night or on the weekend if you're having a problem. And my colleagues would say, you're crazy. You're going to get every nutcase, every crazy person in the world. And, I never found that to be true. In fact, if people did contact me, they would say, hey, I'm really sorry that I'm bothering you. I know it's after hours. I know it's the weekend. You may be with your family, but I've got a problem. And I'd say, okay, that's why I put my phone number out there. So if you have a problem, let me see if I can help you in some way, shape, or form. And then as we got into voicemails and answering machines and cell phones, I've always put out, this is my personal cell phone number. If you have a problem, feel free to call me. And so I think being available in that regard, people knowing, I think sometimes it's just the fact that they know that, okay, if I really have a problem, I can contact this person. And I have a number of people who say, I started to call you over the weekend, but I knew I could get a hold of you and you would see me Monday morning. And that's another thing we always have is when you call our office, I don't care how busy we are, what the situation is, we say, we'll see you today or we'll see you tomorrow. You tell us what you want to do. And I have people that say, okay, I want to be seen today. And I have some people that say, I can wait. And we say, okay, that's fine. So, and I think some of those things spread out that, and people it goes word of mouth that, hey, they can really see you. They can take care of you. I have a number of patients that come in and say, they called their dentist. They may have been going to see him for several years. And they say, they can't see me till next month. And I've broken this tooth. What am I supposed to do? And I said, well, sit down. We'll take care of you.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook. I've done some radio advertising. I've done TV advertising, newspaper, Yellow Page phone book. I mean, I've done a little bit of everything.
Yes.
And so one thing about marketing is there's no one silver bullet, no one magic bullet. I know right now everybody, the big hot thing is Google reviews. Get all the Google reviews you can. And it's important. It's great. But I do billboards. I do, just different things. And it's just a thing that you have to keep your name, not necessarily your face, but your name and how people can contact you before the public so that, whether they drive by a billboard, see a commercial on TV, listen to it on the radio, read it in the newspaper, or read it online, and go to Facebook or the website. It all goes back to availability and the ability that if they contact you, there's a result and a favorable result that will occur for them.
Wonderful. That's really good. That's fantastic. And I mean, it's fantastic because it's simple and logical, but it's, in my experience, a lot of dentists that I've worked with, it's not the case. And that's sort of, I guess you could say that the lack of that attitude sort of spreads out into other aspects of the business, right? Like, whereas with what you're saying, and a lot of dentists that I've spoken with and a lot that I've worked with, when they have that attitude of like, I'm here to help and I'll do what I can to help you as soon as I can, that tends to permeate not just the attracting of patients, but how the back office works, how the front office works, how they all gel. And I don't know if I'm making sense, but it seems to permeate the entire business or organization, that attitude, or it doesn't.
Well, as I've always told my staff, I said, our goal is in some way to get that patient to cross our threshold. In other words, to open our door and walk through. And I said, if they open that door and walk through, I mean, there's like a 99% chance. I mean, we've got a new patient. We've got a patient for life.
Yeah.
We've got a patient for a long time and I said, and I can be the last person that they come in contact with. It all starts when they walk in. Well, it starts when they contact the office, that phone call, they walk in. Who's the first people they meet? Your front desk. Who's the next people they meet? It might be a hygienist. It might be an assistant, because say it's an emergency. I mean, whoever's available, whether it's an assistant or a hygienist, they'll take that patient back, get an x-ray. Hey, what's wrong? Tell us what's happening. I'm not sure exactly when the doctor can get in, but he'll get in as soon as he can to see you and at least talk to you and, see what can be done. And if we have time, if it allows, we can actually take care of it. I mean, when a patient comes in, when the patient makes that effort to come in and they have a broken tooth and they need a crown, it's like my staff, and sometimes they'll roll their eyes because it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I say, do you want a crown on that tooth? That's what you need. And the patient says, well, yeah, while I'm here, if you can do it. And so we're set up that, boom, we can get it done. Yep. I mean, it can be a root canal, it can be a filling, it can be an extraction. I mean, we try to be set up and prepared that when they call, say I have a problem, they call, the famous one is the chipped tooth. It can be something that just needs to be smoothed off, or it can be a root canal, post-core, and crown, as far as that goes. So it just depends on that. But it's like I tell my staff, we've got to be ready to take care of them at that time. If we bring them in and say, oh, we can get to that in 2 or 3 weeks, they're probably not going to come back, or we're going to lose them. So that's another thing that we'd really try to do. And it's like you say, those things like that, when they come in, they meet the staff, and by the time the patient gets to me, usually they're like, well, this is what they say that you're going to say to do. And I probably 99% of the time I say, yes, that's what we can do. Are you ready to do that today? And oftentimes they say, yes, I am, And so, but that permeates not only through the office, but with the patients, like you said, when the patient goes back out into the community, into the workforce, into wherever, on social media, wherever they go, that's going to come out at some point. They're going to, they'll be with somebody will say something, hey, I've chipped a tooth. And then that person's going to say, hey, well, wait a minute, I'll tell you where you need to go. This guy, if you call him today, chances are he's going to see you today and maybe even fix it today. So it's just, and I think that is marketing. That is marketing as far as that goes. And it, since I started almost 40 years ago, they always said, and I still believe today, the word of mouth, the patient to patient, the patient referral is absolutely your number one best referral as far as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, no doubt about that. Fantastic. And what's a current challenge that you have in your business? But we all have them. Something that you're working on or you're working through that if you could wave a magic wand and fix it, you would.
Well, like anything, I don't care what it is. There's always challenges.
Yeah.
And one thing we always kind of pride ourselves on is, we don't want the challenge to bring us down. Our glass is always half full. We're always going to work towards solving or taking care of that challenge. And we always, we kind of have a saying among ourselves, well, this isn't fun, but we're going to make it fun. We're going to find a way to make it fun. And, get through it and everything. Yeah, we can sit and whine and moan and cry and all that, but that still doesn't get the challenge taken care of.
No.
So for the most part, that's the way I feel about it. My staff follows along with that. And they really don't get excited about stuff too much. I mean, they really are like, whatever it is, it's another day, we'll get it taken care of. And so, dentistry, is obviously, I mean, there's challenges every day. Every patient, I don't care if you're working on the same tooth, 3 straight patients, you got 3 different snowflakes you're dealing with that you have to, something's going to be different,
Yeah.
And so, but I like that. I guess I like being challenged, so to speak. And because it makes me think more, it makes me strive more to overcome that challenge. I'm not undefeated by any means. As Michael Jordan said, I've missed more shots than I've made. Yeah. So, if you're a baseball player, you've struck out more than you've got hits. Yeah. So, but when you do hit that home run, when you do sink that game-winning shot, when you do have that patient that literally comes to tears, in gratitude for what you've done for them. Or, the little child that, 4 or 5-year-old that was scared to death, and yet you perform a procedure on them, you walk them, you talk them through it, and, they get up and, I've had them give me a hug, and of course I always tell them they're ready to go to the prize drawer too, so that's always an incentive. But, I think that's just, I enjoy that. Some people say, oh, it's not for me, but, I like that.
Yep. Oh, great. And just to wrap us up, Buck, what would be over and above, all the great things you've mentioned here? Is there anything else that you would share with someone who's perhaps just starting out or is looking to get to that next level, whether that's within their clinic or expanding their clinic or whatever it may be? Is there anything that you'd leave them with?
Well, I always think you should. I'm 63 years old, and I'm starting an implant program, and I'm going to learn to do implants so that I can tell somebody else, if I'm 63-year-old and I can do simple implants, you can too. And that's basic with anything, whether it's endodontics, orthodontics, pediatric dentistry, oral surgery, whatever. I think the number one thing is, one, you have to be a student of whatever it is you're about to undertake. You have to build your knowledge base. And then, it's like anything else. You got to put it into practice. And sometimes that practice turns out good. Sometimes it doesn't turn out not so good. But the main thing is you got to keep doing them. I work with the dental school in our state, and one time I said something about endodontics. Is one of your best, or for me, I really like it, but it's also one of the best financial rewarding aspects you can do in your office. And people say, well, I'm not very good at endodontics, and I say, well, why not? Well, I said, well, how much endodontics have you done? Well, I've done a molar and this and that. And I said, you got to do 100 of them. You've got to do a lot. You've got to do it repetitively until it's almost second nature to you. And there's a lot of things that people pick up now, whether it be a restoration, extraction, endodontics, crown prep. You've got to get your rhythm. You've got to get in sync with it and everything. And having your staff in sync with it too helps. But, dentistry, you can go anywhere, do anything, make it what you want to make it. I do Invisalign, endo, I'm getting into this implant thing. I saw 2 4-year-olds today. I see kids do extractions, and it all boils down to this. You got to pick the right patient, and you got to pick the right procedure to do on that patient. So, I'm not going to go in and do a full bony impaction, but if somebody says, hey, can you take this tooth out? I say, I'm going to try to, and we'll see what happens. And, but I have, specialists that I can refer out to, and everything. So, case selection's very, whatever your comfort level is and whatever your degree is as far as, proficiency, but, it's not going to happen overnight, and nobody's going to be a natural, so to speak. Some people will pick it up maybe quicker than other people, but, it's like anything else. You've got to put your mind to it and then see what you have to do physically to make it happen. And so it just takes practice. That's why it's called the practice of dentistry. We're practicing every day. And so, that's what, how I approach it and everything.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for that wise words, Buck. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on today. And appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.